What's going on YouTube? The Apophis here and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be covering the recoils of the SMGs. So we're going to do a couple tests. We're going to start on this blue little circle here. We're going to aim at the white wall. The black round impacts against that white should give us a really good indicator on what happens when we just let these guns fire at stock with no attachments. And then we're going to hop down in this pool, aim at this white wall, and we should get the same result. So as I said, stock weapons, 0 attachments, and I'm just holding the fire button. There's no recoil management whatsoever going on here. So let's go ahead and see what's going on. We're going to start with the PDW57 and aim from the hip. As we can see, there's a moderate spray, and a lot of the concentration of the rounds kind of head up to the top right area. But for the most part, this is pretty good from the hip at this range. We're going to see other machine guns that are worse. So now we're going to go aim down sights at short range, and we can see that although the recoil is fairly centered to the left and to the right, there is a climb to it, although not bad compared to some of the other SMGs that we're going to take a look at here in a minute. This is very manageable, and if you're in a short range situation, this could be one of the better submachine guns for you to be carrying on a smaller map. Because the short range results are very impressive compared to some of the others. Alright, moving on to the MP7, we're going to take a look at the same test results, firing from the hip at short range and then aim down sights. As we can see, the spread on this is a little bit smaller than the PDW57. Okay, so it's a little bit tighter, which means it's a little bit more accurate at this short range from the hip firing. Now, if we aim down sights, however, we're going to see a drastic difference with the MP7 from the hip statistics here. This thing has a very strong vertical climb, and it is steep. So if you're not one that's very good at managing recoil, you might want to steer away from the MP7 if you like to ADS a lot, and firing from the hip just isn't your thing. So now we're going to take a look at the Vector. I think a lot of us are going to be pleased with this SMG throughout the course of this game. As we can see, the spread is nice and concentrated. So far, the PDW57 has had the widest spread from the hip at this range, but the Vector is definitely, I say, the most impressive as of right now. So now as we ADS, we're going to look at how low the recoil of this this SMG is. It is very, very low. The shots are climbing a little bit. It seemed to have a decently steep vertical climb to it. However, the group that stays in might make things a little more manageable for you. So moving on to the MSMC, as we can see, the spread for this one seems to be fairly centered as well. The submachine guns are excelling very good at this short range, which they should. They're performing just like we expect them to. So far, the MSMC, though, from the hip has been the most impressive. You can see the biggest concentration was in the center or slightly high right. However, when we aim down sights, we're just as pleased with the amount of recoil that this gun lacks. Again, 0 recoil management is going on right now in this clip. I am just holding the trigger, and we can see that there's a very, very tiny climb, and it's exactly vertical. If you like to ADS at short range, the Vector, or the MSMC, excuse me, is probably your best option at stock attachments. Now, the Chicom CQB, we all know that this is a unique submachine gun, being the first 3-round burst submachine gun we've seen in COD. As we expect, however, this thing has the tightest recoil patterns. You are going to sacrifice speed for your rate of fire, but I think we all know that that's the case when it comes to these 3-round burst weapons. We sacrifice speed for accuracy. And again, ADS, this thing might as well be a laser beam at this range, but you might not be in good shape on a small map with this 3-round burst weapon. If you tend to have a fast finger, maybe this is the gun for you. I would personally take this submachine gun out on a couple of the larger maps, which there aren't many, but that's where this one's going to shine on you, or for you, over the others. So now we're going to move on to our medium to long range test, and that's from that pool area that we looked at secondly in the intro. As we can expect, none of these submachine guns other than the Chicom CQB perform well at this range. There are a couple that do stand out over their counterparts, but as a whole they lack, but we do expect that. Okay, so we can see that from the hip, the spread is really wide, and we can see the vertical drift on this when we aim down sights. However, the first half of this magazine seems to be very centered. The rounds are coming out in nice groups, and it's the second half that has this drift, and it's the top right drift, which is consistent with the short range results that we saw. So if we hop on over to the MP7, we're gonna see very similar results that we did from the short range test. Go figure, right? Here we go. Most of our rounds are focused in the center. However, the spread is a lot wider than a lot of the other submachine guns, and this is because they really did buff the recoil for the MP7 this time around. You're looking at a weapon that you actually have to manage now. No more laser beam shots. You'll see it right here when we ADS. This submachine gun climbs like there is an alligator after its legs. Again, zero recoil management, no aiming. This is just holding the trigger and this thing bounces. So maybe you might want to reconsider your favorite gun for Modern Warfare 3, because in this game, although I seem to be playing well with it, it's not really your best choice for submachine guns. So moving on to the Vector, and as I said earlier, the Vector is going to be the one of the guns that surprises the hell out of us and becomes really great. As you can see, even from this range, the spread is super wide compared to even the others. Like, I feel like this one had more sporadic rounds around the edges, but we are very pleasantly surprised when we ADS with this submachine gun. You can see the recoil is incredibly low. So if you're not one that does very good with recoil management, maybe you should equip the Vector and run around and go kill some bots and see if maybe that's going to step your game up. And plus, with that grip attachment, this thing would be a laser beam. The slight recoil on it is a little bit vertical. Moving on to the MSMC, which was incredibly impressive at short range. Probably the second best, only second to the Chicom CQB in my opinion. The spread again is kind of wide. However, it seems to be more concentrated in the center than the other SMGs were. So if you're gonna maybe get in that slightly longer range engagement every now and then on a map, maybe the MSMC is your option here, because it performs well at short and pretty decent at long. As we can see, ADSing with this thing, it is very centered, and the climb is incredibly small compared to some of the other submachine guns that we saw, like the MP7, which had an incredible climb. So the MSMC looks to be a very balanced choice for both the smaller and the larger maps. Now lastly, we're going to come to the Chicom CQB again, and as we can expect from any 3-round burst weapon, the accuracy is amazing. Even from the hip at this range, you're going to have the smallest spread from all of these submachine guns. So again though, you are going to be sacrificing your fire rate in order to get this type of accuracy. So this is going to be more of the niche player's weapon. You know, very few people I think are going to be running this. And then aiming down sights is just freaking scary, and it's that simple. You're like shooting a laser. You got something better than the ACR, better than the MP7 from Modern Warfare 3. This thing is dead accurate, and this is with 0 attachments. If you want to add recoil management to this, you could really wreak havoc if you can get used to 3-round burst. So I'd like to thank you all for stopping by to check out my most recent video. If you liked what you heard or saw, I don't know what the fuck I was trying to say there. So if you like what you heard or saw, please leave a like. Okay, if you want more of what you heard or saw, please subscribe by clicking the yellow button that's on your screen right now. If you have any kind of feedback, whether it be positive or negative, please leave it in the comments, and I will do the best I can to respond to you in a timely manner. There's 2 videos on the screen of mine. If you haven't seen them, feel free to click them. They open in a new window. They'll take you there and you'll watch them. And as always, follow me on Twitter if you want to know what I'm doing and for a chance to get together and play. Thanks again for stopping by, and we'll see you next time.